Greetings and welcome to the Developing Dad podcast. I am your host, Michael J. Griffin Jr., and in today's podcast, we're going to discuss Proverbs chapter 7, and I've entitled this Profile of a Thot. Before we get started, I need you to help me out by giving a like, a subscription, and a comment on the channel, and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any of the content that I'm producing. I'm trying to produce content Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and it would be of great assistance if you could help me out with that, okay? So without further ado, let's get started. This one should be a doozy. Okay, so I'm not going to go through the entire proverb, but I'm going to highlight some portions that I think will be helpful in helping you to determine what to look for when you are, I guess, choosing a spouse, right? That would probably be the best way to describe this. Yeah. Avoid these type of women at all costs, basically, right? Don't even befriend them, much less get into relationships with them. So let's get straight to it. Okay. Now, this is generally how I break up the Proverbs. And if you're not familiar with my series on the reflections on the Proverbs in the past, you can go back and look at some of those videos. I will post a couple of the playlist here so you can take a look at it. But the idea is I go through the plan, the purpose, and the produce of each proverb. And in this one, the purpose, obviously the plan is to sit a young man down and to teach him what he should do in life, right? It's a man teaching his son. Solomon is teaching his son, okay? And this is the pattern that we see in this proverb. Then the purpose comes in. What is he trying to teach him? What is the lesson that needs to be learned? And it's plainly stated here in the uninspired title, Warning Against the Adulteress. And I'm going to give you 7 things that you can take from this verse, from this chapter, that will help you to recognize a possible adulterous woman, or in this case, what I'm styling as a thot. All right, because it's the nomenclature of the day. So the first one is in verse 10, the uniform. A lot of people will be up in arms immediately because how can you can't judge a book by its cover. This is the Bible, the inspired, inerrant, authoritative, sufficient word of God. And it says in verse 10, and behold, the woman meets him dressed as a prostitute, wily of heart. All right. You can know based on the uniform, all of the hair, the nails, the fake hair, the skin tight clothing, all of the makeup and everything that keeps you distracted from what's actually in her heart, because her heart's wily, but it keeps you distracted, right? All of these things are meant to keep you from focusing on what's most important, right? Charm is deceitful, right? Right. The Bible says that a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. This woman does not fear the Lord, and she's trying to hide it behind all of these things. So you can tell by the uniform. The second, it's a grouping in verse 11, as she is loud and wayward, or as the KJ puts it, she's loud and stubborn. Does that ring a bell, right? Loud, boisterous, always combative, always ready to fight with her words. And she's wayward, stubborn. She doesn't want to do things God's way. She's definitely not going to want to do them your way as a man. If she's not submitting to God, why would she submit to you? God created her. You didn't. He's a ruler. She belongs to him, and she's not respecting God. Why would she respect you as a man? Okay? So she is loud and stubborn. Avoid loud and stubborn women. Her feet never stay at home. Always need to be out in the scene, right? That is verse 11, part B. She doesn't stay at home, right? She's not about her home. She's always on the scene. It used to be that you had to go to the club and do all of these things, and that's still a possibility, but she could now be outside of the home by just being on social media. She could be the type of woman that's always on social media, always on TikTok, always on Instagram, looking into her DMs, right? Wanting to be seen, right? She's not about her home. She's interested in what everybody else or what the world has to say. Okay, so that's another thing to look out for. Number 4, all right, verse 11. Verse 13. She seizes him and kisses him, right? She's aggressive, sexually aggressive. She's loose. She has loose morals. She's the aggressive one. She is sexually aggressive. Avoid that type of woman, right? You need a woman who is pure, chaste, who values her body and has given it over to God, and is not interested in giving it to you or being sexually aggressive. Okay. All right. The 5th one, this one may be surprising to you, but look at verse 14. I had to offer sacrifices, and today I have paid my vows. Religious. She can be in the church. She can be in the club on Saturday and then in the church on Sunday, right? And I mean, I'm pretty sure that's not an uncommon thing. It's been mocked in movies. It's been mocked on YouTube. It's been a common idea for a few generations now, that women will be in the club on Saturday and then in the church prominent on Sundays. Okay. Number 6, apologize, is in verse 16. She said, I've spread my couch with covered linens from Egyptian linen. I've perfumed my bed with myrrh, aloes, and cinnamon. All right, come, let us take our fill of love until the morning. Let us delight ourselves with love. She is enticing. She will put on all of the things that make her appealing. From the perfume to the hair, the nails. Again, I mentioned all of that stuff. It's the uniform. She entices you. She speaks to you in such a way that makes you want to become a part of what she's doing, a part of this sin, because she can't do this without you. Okay, come, let us she's going to entice you. Let us take our fill of love till the morning. I'm yours all night. Right? Let us delight ourselves with love. She wants to entice you. Do not be enticed by her. All right. And then the last one, number 7, she's deceitful. Verse 19, for my husband is not at home. He has gone on a long journey. He took a bag of money with him, and at full moon, he will come home. She's married. She's deceitful. She's planned this out. She knows exactly what she's doing. She's deceitful and cunning. If she's deceiving her husband, she's definitely deceiving you. Don't fall for it. All right. All right. So let's go to what this is supposed to produce in you as a man. It's supposed to produce in you temperance. All right. There are 3 main ways that men are, and I've all alliterations. You'll know me. If you know me, you know what I like alliterations. 3 main ways that the Proverbs talks about how men need to be tempered. One is their appetite, right? Proverbs 25:16. If you have found honey, eat only enough for you, lest you have your fill of it and vomit. Gluttony is a big problem, right, for men. Okay, and it's something that I'm going to be discussing on my channel as well. The second one is anger, right? Proverbs 16:32, it says, whoever is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he who rules his spirit than he who takes a city, being able to control your anger. And then the third is the one we're going to discuss right now in Proverbs 25. This is what it's trying to produce. Let not your heart turn aside to her way. Do not stray into her paths. Arousal is one of the main ways in which men need to be tempered. That's our issues, right? Appetite, anger, and arousal. Those are the 3 things, right? I think Kevin Samuels puts it like this: sex, silence, sandwich. Those are the 3. But the Bible speaks it. Again, he knows that because the Bible teaches it. Appetite, anger, arousal. I use those, right? AAA. Okay. So what are the implications of this text? And then we're going to close out. All right. Verse 7, only a fool is going to fall for this. All right. Only a fool is going to fall for this. Verse 7, and I have seen among the simple, I have perceived among the youths, a young man lacking sense. Only a fool will fall for this woman's devices, especially if you've been taught well. But fools fall for this. Okay, these are the implication. The other implication is that this will end in your death. Verses 22 through 23. All at once he follows her. He doesn't listen. He goes as an ox goes to the slaughter, or as a stag is caught fast, till an arrow pierces its liver. As a bird rushes into a snare, he does not know that it will cost him his life. It always does. You will not get out of it. Either you will go down to Sheol at the end of your life, or your life will be ended because of a woman like her. It's one way or the other, right? It will end in your death. And the other implication is something that I mentioned earlier. It's a man teaching his son, verses 1 and 24. And let's go back up here. Verse 1, my son, keep my words and treasure up my commandments with you. Keep my commandments and live. Keep my teaching as the apple of your eye. Bind them on your fingers, right? So that you can see them. Like this ring. This ring's on my finger. It's always there. Bind them on your fingers. Write them on a tablet of your heart. Your heart's always with you. Okay? Say to wisdom, you're my sister. Verse 24, he says, and now, O sons, at the end of all of that, he says, now, O sons, listen to me. Pay attention to my words. Pay attention. The idea is men should be teaching their sons. And we've lost a generation, especially in the black church, we've lost a generation of men being able to teach their sons to avoid this type of behavior, to avoid this type of woman. And it's been this type of woman that has caused that generation to miss it. Okay. Men like Kevin Samuels, men like Coach Greg Adams, these men have tapped into this energy, right? One of the things I see whenever I go onto Kevin Samuels' page and see his videos from the past, the chat always Godfather, Unc, right? Same thing. There are many people, Unc, or men are starved for over the men to teach them because of things that they didn't get from their father. It's one of the reasons why, I'm not really starved for that type of interaction, is because my dad raised me. As someone who was raised by his father, who actually, my parents are still together to this day. I've never known life without my father. I was taught by him lots of things. There were some things he taught me. There's some things he didn't teach me, just like I'm doing with my sons. But as a man who was taught by his father, I can see when men are lacking that father figure in their lives, because they're going to other men, older men, for that experience. They yearn for it. The void is so palpable. It's obvious to men who've actually had their father. And men like Kevin Samuels and Coach Greg Adams are capitalizing on this. And I'm not saying it's a negative thing that they're capitalizing on it, but it's there, and they're doing what they can. They're doing what they can to help fill that void. Again, ultimately, the void needs to be filled by the gospel, by Jesus Christ. And that's one of the reasons why my channel exists. Not that I think that you should be following me. I'm only 43 years old, but the wisdom that I have only comes from the ancient wisdom that stands the test of time. It'll be the same wisdom that my sons will be able to pass on to their sons, the same wisdom that Solomon passed on to his son. It's the ancient wisdom from the one who knows all. It's God. All right. So that's the last implication, right? Just think about that. I'm going to sign off here, but don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, please, and also avoid thoughts at all costs. Okay. And if you'd like to support the channel financially, you can find the information in the description. All right. And I'll see you all on the next one. Grace and peace.